Welcome to today's stream where we are going to discuss when should you publish book chapters. And book chapters, the short answer to this question is never, ever, ever should you publish a book chapter, ever, ever. Why? Because because of two things. First, book chapters are worse than papers, and they are worse than papers because book chapters do not benefit from review. As you know, as much as you each of us does not like the experience of reviewing, the reality is that reviewing improves papers. That is at least my experience. Maybe some of you, are better writers than I am, but even very well published authors in fiction, do benefit from the editing process, which is not really a revision process, but there's still a lot of feedback that they get. So do not publish book chapters because you'll be publishing worse work. Second, do not publish book chapters because they don't count for your school's evaluation, and therefore they don't count for evaluation. Third, do not publish book chapters because book chapters are inaccessible and not discoverable, right? So it's really, really, really hard to get your hands on a book chapter. And, if we really take access and equality and inequality seriously, although journals are inaccessible to people in in universities and countries with lower research budgets, as as well as I do, that there are not exactly legal alternatives to get your hands on journal articles, right? Like Sci-Hub, but means lower citations. Okay, so if we go, so here's my CV, and I have published book chapters. My last book chapter was published in 2009, so you can see how much and basically the only reason I published book chapters was because actually for the first reason you should publish book chapters, which is networking. Sometimes as as a sort of like to give back on people that have mentored you, or people with whom you want to build a co-authoring relationship and so on. They'll ask you to write a book chapter, and then you'll do it. It does look good on your CV. Like I have this book chapter with Stuart Clegg, who's somebody like pretty good in my field. I actually have more than one with him. So it looks good. I mean, so you, especially when you're a junior scholar, if you have this on your CV, it knows that you do have a network, that you just didn't have coffee with Stuart Clegg, that, really have some sort of collaboration with them. So if you are, if you have projects that are not manuscripts or papers with these people, then yeah, it's pretty good to have a book chapter with them on your CV, because it will signal that you have these people on your network. On that note, however, I have to tell you that sometimes this can go horribly wrong. So one of the people in my committee at MIT really loved me until he asked me to write like a super difficult book chapter with him, which was mostly writing it myself. And this, obviously I was like super optimistic and thought very highly of myself, but this was was really too difficult, and this really you know changed this person's opinion about my skills and ability to the very much worse. So it was bad. So the cautionary tale here is, be mindful that if you're taking on a difficult book chapter, this may actually destroy your tie, your collaboration with this person. Again, I don't think I'm the smartest person in the room here, so this may just be me, but just be mindful of that you're not biting a little bit more than you can chew, especially when you're very junior and it's difficult to assess how difficult writing something is going to be. Anyway, so first reason to write book chapters is networking. Okay, now I want to show you on my Google Scholar, and remember, Google Scholar is like is very generous with citations. Okay, so this is the very generous view. Okay, so let's go through my Google Scholar. Okay, and let's go, and see, and you see like, okay, that have one book chapter, okay, in one book chapter, okay, so I have two book chapters with more than 10 citations, okay, and none of this is the one written with Stuart Clegg. So even if you're writing with somebody like super famous, that doesn't mean it's going to be cited because it's a book chapter, and obviously like 8 book chapters, okay, 2 of them with a super famous scholar, and only 2 of them have any citations ever. And I've been writing since the year 2000. So, and the last one was from 2009. So, there has been time for this to be cited. Okay, famous. It's just to build a tie with somebody famous so that you then can write other articles with this person. So, like, I have a pretty well cited article on paradox with Stuart Clegg. That is okay. Okay, now second reason to write book chapters is when you want to write something. You need a piece of theoretical work, especially. You need a piece of theoretical work for another paper, and that theoretical work is very difficult to write, and nobody has written this before. Okay, so I'll give you an example. So I have a paper. Let's go to my Google Scholar again. So where is this? I'll put this by year. Now I want to show you this paper. Blah blah blah. Yeah. So this is the paper, as you see, like cited by 2 people. One of them is myself. Okay, and I never cite my own papers. I think it's something you should not do unless it's something that you really need to do. So basically, what happened is I needed a specific critique of structuration theory in information technology, and and this was like a super like hardcore theory piece that I've been thinking about for a while, and that I did incorporate in some of my empirical pieces, but I didn't have like this model anywhere, and I needed it for this project here that got published in Information System Journal. So basically what I did is I wrote it to the best of my ability. I submitted to a journal to get some reviews. It was rejected again because this is really arcane theory. Feel free to read it. I think it's a nice paper. I'm actually proud of it. And my plan was to publish it in a book chapter, but eventually I got asked by a very small journal to submit some sort of like essay editorial piece, and I did. So that was it, but it should have been a book chapter. Okay, so sometimes there's some theoretical work that you need for a paper that you cannot do in that paper because it is a paper on itself, and so you just publish it as you just publish it as a book chapter. Okay, so that's the second reason, that you have something that is, I wouldn't say unpublishable, but very hard to publish um, paper that is foundational for another paper. And again, would I be able to publish this paper? Yes, in some European theory journal after years of working on it, but a little bit of a trade-off. Okay. Now, third reason, and the most often cited reason to publish book chapters, is ritual closure of a project. So this is probably seen this on Twitter or Facebook as a joke, but it's true, which is that book chapters is where papers go to die. And I wouldn't say it's where papers go to die. It's basically, book chapters is how you make a funeral to a paper. Sometimes like we work on papers that take a lot of energy, and we're actually proud of them, but we aren't able to publish them anywhere. And when you begin to read the reviews, you begin to see that realistically this is not going to go anywhere. Something like this in a book chapter, well, that will give you closure. You can move to something else. You will feel happier and lighter. So that's the reason. So wrapping it up, do not write book chapters ever. Okay, if you do, main reason is to get rid of a project that you've been working on for years, if or to do something that is foundational but very difficult to publish for future papers. Okay, if you're doing it for networking, again, be like super careful. Remember my story where this went horribly wrong, so be super careful. Yeah, be super careful. It's dangerous. Okay, so I had that case which was bad and was really bad. It had a super negative impact on my career. I have the case with Sureclag, which was good, but I would still definitely trade off the bad for the good. So yeah. Anyway, so don't do it. But if you do it as a funeral for your papers. Excellent. So that's it. Hope this was useful. Chapters. Do not invite people to write book chapters. Do not edit books. Do not do that. Have I done this in the past? Yes. Do I regret doing this? Yes, very much. Okay. So wish you a very nice rest of the week. I have meetings all day tomorrow and Thursday, so I won't be streaming, but I'll be back on Friday. Hope you have a great rest of the week. Bye bye, and thanks for watching.